1.5. Just quickly check on YouTube. Oh,
it says we're now streaming live on YouTube.
Awesome. Let's strip down. So, hello and welcome to the show. But before we begin, let's have an intro. No, we're not going to go there. We're going to go. There's nothing like a little bit of chaos with Sifu Boggy in the house. Is it going to actually let me do what I wanted to do? Or is it not going to let me do what I wanted to do? Yes, it is. I think it is. It might be. 3, 2, 1. Wake up, computer. Or not.
My name is Emily Harrison, founder and director of the Akashic Academy and mentor to other lightworkers in the realm of the Akashic Records. I got to give a shout out today to Sifu Boggy, my personal Sifu. I want to invite you to open your mind to the way, the conscious way, the way of conscious mindfulness. Peace.
Guys, Billy Carson here, also known as Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4. I wanted to give a special shout out here to Sifu Boogie, and that's Sifu, which means master, okay? Open your mind to the way, the conscious way, the way of conscious mindfulness, and follow the way of conscious mindfulness on Facebook, ASAP, okay? Much love from Forbidden Knowledge. Thank you.
Sifu Boggy here, and welcome to the show. What? So very surprised then. And welcome to the show. Oh, here we are. Hello, we're back. Hello. Yes, it's me and it's him. I don't know which one of us is the serious one and which one's the funny one. Or maybe we're just both. I don't know. Anyway, welcome to Sifu and Doc. No, sorry, Doc and Sifu. Well, actually, I'm sure it's the other way around. Doc and Sifu's monthly Ponderings, where we talk about the meaning of life, the meaning of somebody's wife, and maybe a cat. I don't know. I'm just rambling. So, hello, Doc. How are you, my friend? How are things with you?
Sifu Boggy. What a pleasure to see you once again. Taming chaos. That's when every time I see you, I think of the phrase taming chaos. You know,
yeah,
how am I?
I'm just yes, how are you?
Yeah, I'm just plodding on as normal, not really knowing what's going on, just sort of allowing it to emerge and taking action on what I feel to be the best way to go. And it seems to be working, although there does seem to be a lot of stuff happening in the world out there. But my view, as you know, is if I can sort of allow the world out there to come into here and allow my heart and soul, if you like, to process the information in a way that resonates with the frequency of my soul, then everything seems to flow quite nicely. Have I got it cracked? Not in the slightest. Because I feel like I'm only ever just scratching the surface of this great big universal and cosmic joke. There we are.
Oh, blimey! We've got out with the philosophical stuff already, and it's only 7 minutes past. Yes, well, yeah. I think it's. I think the universe will throw things at you, very much so. And I think, yeah, there's a lot of things going on in my life and other people's lives, and I think, at the end of the day, I am the balance between the chaos and the calmness, as my name says, Borgie. And it's I very much believe in epigenetics. Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza are very much the founders of that, and they were really pushing that forward. And then the big C happened, or K, depending how you want to spell it. But the whole thing of epigenetics is you are what you believe. How your mind is affects your physical reality, can affect your health. And yeah, I mean, yeah, there are things happening in my life, definitely being flipped around. At the end of the day, you can only do what you can do, and you have to do the best for yourself and then do the best for other people. But yourself always comes first. And as the wonderful Doc always says, yeah, it's all about the heart. It's all about the coming from the heart, the heart chakra, the middle dantian in Taoism, the Torah field, the biomagnetic field, which the good old Russians, well, I say good old Russians, or half Russian-ish, the good old Russians found the biomagnetic field, which is like a Torah field, and when your happiness increases, that field expands, and everything in that field gets better. Everything, the cells repair. But when that field shrinks, everything outside of that field it starts to deteriorate, starts to break down, and the fight or flight mechanism seems to kick in. And that field comes from your heart. It actually resonates on the heart and expands outwards. So it is, and it's funny how the Russians detected it about 15 years ago or so, but the ancient ones talked about this field. They've been talking about this field for a couple thousand years. So it's very powerful how we always talk about the heart, being connected to the heart, and yeah, it's a powerful thing. So I mean, apart from this, because I've got to say, Doc, I think you've been wearing my moccasins, because you've been very spiritual the last couple of shows. You've been talking about the energetic happenings out in the atmosphere, the cosmosphere, whatever you want to call it, as long as it's not fear. But yeah, you've been very much focusing on the outer stuff for the last couple of podcasts. So have you any things to say, any declarations to declare?
Yes, we could talk about bone marrow ne kung, if you like, and that will take us deep inside, because what I feel is happening at the moment, because as you know, this is all about consciousness. It's all about big mind, and I think that big mind is the cosmos itself. And I think big mind is getting closer to small mind, and it is sort of encouraging the small mind to change its mind so that it realigns with the truth. I've got no idea what I'm talking about here, but I'm just going to keep speaking because it sounds quite good. I never know what to say on these things, I have to play it back to myself and think, that was good, that, Joe. Where did you get that from? So the great washing, and there's a technique called bone marrow washing. But, to get to bone marrow washing, Sifu, as you know, you've got to really start at the bottom and from outside in to get to inside out. It's a very strange, because we start with the skin. There's basically, as you know, there's 5 levels of mastery. This goes along with Zen Buddhism and body dharma and breathing. And it's not just about developing techniques. It's about developing skill. And to me, this is all about understanding the science and the art of correct breathing. And correct breathing is not just about the quantity of breathing, but more than anything else, it's tuning into the quality of breathing, because breathing and the heart and thinking are all intimately and intricately connected. And as you know, the macrocosm and the microcosm are not separate. They're completely and utterly in alignment with one another. It's just, if you like, that the ego is the separative device that seems to misdirect the energy and causes fragmentation. That sounded quite good. Then I'm going to pass over to you until the next wave of breath comes in.
Yeah, and breathe. Neigong, marrow washing, also sometimes called brainwashing as well, but
yeah,
in a good way, not a bad way. The whole, and it's a Neigong. Neigong means strengthening exercise, and it's those Taoists were clever old chaps. They pretty much, I always say, there's a Qigong and a Neigong and a Shengong for pretty much everything. You've got a bad back, you got a headache, you got a sore throat, you're in fear and desperation, got a Qigong for that, and or more. And the whole thing with the Neigong can also sometimes be called Taoist yoga, and it's about cleansing that body. But it's that understanding of it's the understanding that the outside and the inside is almost a mirror of each other. That goes a little bit into the whole, like, there's different types of Taoists. You've got the barefoot doctors, they did things in a spiritual, scientific way. You've got the dragon dog shaman who did it in a very sort of quantum physicsy, shamany, Taoisty way. Making words up now. And then you got the cloud whisperers, and the cloud whisperers were everything on the outside is a reflection of the on the inside, which is a bit like your big mind, little mind, and it goes into no mind, which is really Zen as well. The whole thing of no mind, where I say, there are techniques that you can clean the body and heal the body, but the whole thing of what epigenetics is going on about into no mind is that if you just take things as are, that you can do this, it's already done, it's already happened. Wasa means in Chinese means it's already done, it's already happened. And when you can get to that, or it's already happened, that no mind, you can clean the body, you can energize the body. And the whole thing of the marrow washing is that inside your marrow, the nutrients inside your marrow will literally feed you for at least 100 years, if not much longer. So you will stay youthful, you stay young, you'll stay energized. And of course, there are certain pharmaceutical companies, or all pharmaceutical companies, that don't really want you to learn this stuff, because it means they can't make you buy lots of medicine, and we have been sort of, oh no, this, that, oh that's rubbish, or oh you have to, what really gets me with this saying, I mean, I will say, as like with the issue I have with my dad, he's very ill, and I sort of said, look, this would help you, and he'll go, oh yeah, but you have to believe in it for it to work. And it's like, why is that an issue? If you have to believe in it to make it work, and if you believe in it, it makes it work, then why don't you believe in it and make it bloody work? It is, and that's, I think that's the thing, is like, and there's so much stuff, the whole reason in quantum physics why in science itself, and medical science and case studies in general, you have blind and double-blind case studies, because of the fact the observer affects the experiment. We are far more powerful than we've been led to believe. We are far more powerful than we've been led to believe. And sort of like people say, oh, Boggy, you've got so much energy, and oh man, you're so powerful. And it's like, I'm supposed to be normal. This is not, normal is the average of weird. Hello, I'm the weirder weird. But what I can do is actually meant to be normal. It is that my teachers taught that you know, yes, I've studied it for 39 years, but it doesn't take 39 years to actually learn the basics. It doesn't, you know, you could learn the basics and you could improve your life. You could enhance your life. You know, there's so, and we live in a world where everybody's running around like a headless chicken. And it's like, you can take, you know, a couple of little things, just breathing, just what Doc says about breathing from the heart. And you can, you know, you can stop living in fear all the time. And also the heart is the biggest compass you could ever have. You know, the biggest, you know, like we talk about having guides, your guide right there, your heart. If you think of something and you feel expanding and feel positive, that's a yes, do that thing. If it feels contracting and you start to, that fear starts to creep in maybe, then don't do that thing. You know, it's just simple that. But hey, as any good Daryl should say, what do I know? And pass it back to the Doc.
Marvelous. I love our conversations. We started off with talking about electromagnetism, you know, and I'm going to turn this round, and I'm also going to turn epigenetics round as well, and saying really the solution to all our problems is beyond our beliefs. It's actually to let go of all beliefs and to live in a choiceless awareness. And when I say choiceless awareness that means that there's just no choice other than to live from the heart, because the heart's only ever got one solution, you know, and epigenetics is based upon belief. I'm writing a book at the moment. It's called Biology Beyond Belief. And because Bruce Lipton's book is called The Biology of Belief. And I think that beliefs are obstructions. Actually, they're the final obstruction to complete freedom, because all beliefs are in here. And they're actually linked to and related to memory. And if you work out if you live beyond memory, then you're free then, completely and utterly free. That's just where I'm up to, you know. And, you know, there are times when I come out of a meditation, I've got no idea where I've been, but I know that I've been everywhere at the same time. It's hard to explain, really. But, you know, when the heart opens more and more, there's a magneto-electric effect. It's exactly the opposite way around. It's called charismatic healing. And that's why as the heart opens more, the soul emerges, and the soul will draw to it what it needs to learn and experience next. We don't have to have any head engagement for this. We just have to metaphorically decapitate ourselves, take our heads away, sink into our heart, and trust, as you said before, intuitively, that we're being guided by the universe itself, you know. So what have you got to say about that, Sifu Boggy?
What he said. Yeah, you know, this is it's that whole thing of that. Yeah, you know, the irony is that yeah, all beliefs technically hold you back because it's a belief. You're believing this, you're believing that. Even the belief of there's no restrictions. Well, you still sort of say there's restrictions because you say there's no restrictions, but there's a restriction within no. But you know, it's this thing of just letting things be, and it's just you know, I've done some very crazy things in my life. I've done some very interesting things in my life. You know, I've, you know, had injuries which I've healed really quickly. You know, I've done crazy stuff like go on the back of a motorbike at 80 miles an hour and then get thrown off and scratched all the side of my leg and then healed it within, you know, a short period of time. I was hit by a car cycling a few years ago. I keep meaning to do a post on it, and there's pictures of this side of the face all scratched up, all scarred up, and within 12 days it went from black eye almost closed, or great big, or they were talking about skin. My doctor was saying you're going to have to go to the hospital for a skin graft because it looked that bad. And within 12 days, you know, it was just, well, there's just a little tiny scar here now. Like when it gets cold, there's a little scar that pops up. And he flipped it around, and you know, the body is so amazing. The body can do so many, awesome things. And I even think I'm only scratching the surface of what the body can do. I honestly, because the stuff I used to do, I can't quite do now, but I know that give me enough time and, start doing certain practices again. I can breathe like the male washing or not. And so I know that we are so much capable of so much more. And one of the biggest things with like the Neigong and the Qigong in general is this whole, like he's talking about with the heart, is that it changes your attitude to stuff. I mean, what's happening now, with like my father's very ill. I'm about to have to move because the place where I'm staying, the landlords are selling up, and a lot of people I know would be. They wouldn't be smiley faced right now. They wouldn't be doing a show right now. And it's I've had this before when me and my my daughter's mum split up, and I gave up. I walked away from everything and just walked away because that felt like the right thing to do. I even had friends stop being my friends because I thought I was an idiot because I didn't go for 50-50. I just walked away because my daughter was important to me. And it was funny how one of my friends was saying, Boggy, I know people who are 80% more well off than you and split up, and they're close to suicide, and how are you the way you are? And it's like, because at the end of the day, when you do Qigong, when you just, breathe, when you listen to the heart, this is just one little point in a very long line of your life, that things go up and down, and it's a bit hidden at the moment, but the Tai Chi symbol, it's a wave. And, the bigger the up, the bigger the down, the bigger the down, the bigger the up. And when you learn that up and down is the yin and yang, and then in the center, like the sacred child we talk about, is actually the silver mist, and that's the Tao. The Tao is the balance, but balance is not a flat line. We in the West, we think scales and we think of flat lines. Now the balance is more waves, but it's flowing with that wave, it's going with that wave the best you can. And it's like, I could get upset, I could, but things are the way they are. If something happens to my papa, he's had a great life up to now. He had an awesome life, awesome experiences. That can never be taken away from me. That will always be in my heart. And when somebody goes, they'll want you just to live on. They want you to live on. They want you to be happy. They want you to, at the end of the day, when they, see that light or whatever they see, it's like, well, I just want you to do the best you can and be the best you can, or that's what you want. That's what your parents really want for you at the end of the day, and that's what people really want for you at the end of the day, and that's what you can do at the end of the day. And like I say, I have to move, and it's like, well, I can live in a cardboard box. I know a friend right near me has. So it's it is what it is, and it's real. But you know what? Even I have to look like, freaking hell, Boggy, how the freaking hell are you so okay with this all? Most people I know could not are not handling it for me. They're all stressed, and it's like, just some Qigong, chill, relax. It's like, it is what it is. And the reason I bring this up is that if everybody could find that inner peace, everybody could find that way of just going with the flow, we wouldn't have half the issues we have. We wouldn't be in the shite we're in, because people would go, yeah, but we'll find a way. We can do something. We'll fight. We'll change it. We'll shift it. We'll move it. We'll do it. We'll do whatever needs to be done. But it's that biggest thing of, if you're in a car and suddenly the brakes are not working, the last and the worst thing to do is go, because that's not actually going to help. If anything, jump out of the car or swerve the car and hit something to stop. But just, or like, when the cars go down the road and something walks in front of the car, adjusting your wing mirror is not going to help. Looking what's behind you is not going to help. Going panicking is not going to help. You need to stop. You need to do some action. So it's that thing of, get upset, get stressed. It's actually not going to help this situation. Whatever, in my situation or in wherever you are in life, and maybe that's the point. Maybe that's why the way I am, because this is the example. Is that my papa's not very well. I don't know where I'm going to be next month. Well, it'll be what it'll be. But hey, what do I know? Over to you, Doc.
Acceptance is the key. But when I'm talking about acceptance, when I say acceptance is my head says to me, okay, that's the way that it is. I can't do anything at all about what's emerged in front of me, but I can do something now, right? And so it's not about accepting and not doing anything. It's about accepting, all right, this is where I find myself. And then what I do now, because I'm trained like you in this, I sink deep now into my heart of hearts, and I almost ask for guidance from my heart. What action do I take now? And then I sort of get a whole load of different projections coming up into my mind. And the more relaxed I become, the more options come up. And then I can almost look at each individual one and I wait for my energy to emerge and flow. And then that will be the correct choice for me, or the better option. I didn't have that before, Sifu. What I had before was blind panic, and I'll just do anything that immediately comes to my mind. And I used to be totally neurotic. As you know, I tried to drink myself to death. And I came to the doors of insanity and death, and something intervened, turned me around, kicked me up the bottom, and almost said to me, son, we'll show you how to do this now. And that's where I find myself now. I live, it is about a great cleansing. I don't mean to become a saint, but it's about really cleaning away the obstructions that have disallowed the light to come through. And the light is there for everybody. We just need to offload all the baggage that's being collected for eons of time, And we talked about stem cells before, and what stem cells do is they're basically the nuclei of stem cells. They have what's in it called DNA, and DNA, when it expresses itself, it produces who we become. Now, sometimes consciousness, well, no, all the time, consciousness impacts upon the way DNA expresses itself. That's what epigenetics is. It's not the DNA that's the problem. It's the expression of the DNA that's the problem. And if our consciousness is negative, then our DNA will express itself in a defensive way. So this great big cleansing that's coming up now is basically washing away all the threatening circumstances that our ego has defended itself from, not only in our personal lives, quite deep this, isn't it? Not only in our personal lives, but also in our ancestral past as well. So we're almost having now the crystallized DNA is sort of being washed, and all the stuff from our heredity is coming up so that we experience it on the way out. Here's the problem, Sifu. If you try and work it out with your head as it's coming up, right, it'll drive you absolutely insane. The idea would be, and it's only a suggestion, is to let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go until you can see it clearly and it can't grab hold of you anymore. And that's what emotional maturity is. It's being able to see the past, learn the lessons of the past, but not get sucked back into the emotional reaction that goes with it. It's called,
wow.
It's called mindful living. And Sifu, by breathing in a certain way, you can change the way the heart works to change the way the head works to make healthier choices. It creates more space. It allows the thinking to come through in more manageable chunks. And therefore you become a magician of time then. You can actually, by breathing in a certain way, you can slow down the information into manageable chunks to improve the quality of your choices. There we are, old fruit.
Oh, chap. That was awesome. That was wonderful. Yes, and I mean, yeah, there's interesting, or there's a saying, or there is a wu way, which means do a little and everything is done. And it doesn't mean do nothing. It means almost like the domino effect, is that, if you think of a ship, and you turn the course just 1 millimeter, and then over effect of time that will go, they can go miles off course. But the whole idea is you do very little, and you just then continue on that trajectory, and it will build up over time. So, doing 15 minutes of qigong every single day, over 100 days builds up, and over 200 days builds up, and over 1,000 days builds up. And doing this breathing, starting off just doing a little bit of breathing, noting your breath, being aware of your breath. That's the biggest thing, because we technically always breathe, but if it's being aware of your breath, and there's certain sayings in the Taoist philosophy, if your breath is fast and shallow, your thoughts are fast and shallow. Your actions are fast and shallow. If your breath is irritated or sharp, your thoughts will be irritated and sharp. Your actions will be irritated and sharp. But if your breath is slow and flowing and continuous and soft, your thoughts will be this, your actions will be this. And there's a psychology with this, that how you breathe, and when you start breathing, breathing in the heart, and the Taoist likes to say about breathing in the belly, but it's about expelling, drawing all the way down to use the full diaphragm. That's what they mean by belly breathing. It doesn't mean that you're actually breathing with the belly as such, but you're using the full capacity of your diaphragm. But when you do it in a slow and a way, when you actually use intent in your breath, that breathing in that way affects your physical body, and affects your mood, and affects everything else. And that is, in one thing, that is qigong. That is breath work. One of the meanings of qigong is breath work. And there's another thing you said about, I wanted to say that there's an action called the lean back or step back, and that is like on a qigong level, on a physical level, you literally like lean into your body. You sort of just lean back slightly and allow yourself, or you're trying to pull your awareness from out the tip of your nose and draw it into the back of your head, almost like you're looking through two holes in a cave, and and your eyes become, your eyes are actually two windows into the world. And this whole idea is, I love the whole Taoist sort of make-up stuff, or the whole poetry stuff, but this idea of leaning back into your body. And in qigong there's a thing of, whether you're seated or standing, just sinking back, just leaning back from your feet, not like just like from the bottom, but from the whole feet, and just leaning back, like like have a wall and just have a little gap, just like you're a little bit tired or drunk, and you just lean back onto that wall. But it gives your mind that little bit more perception, it gives your mind that little bit more reality. And there's a thing my teachers taught about the expansion of consciousness, and the expansion of consciousness is and I think Alan Watts, another Taoist, also said this about, and there was somebody else who said it about as well, but when you expand your consciousness, you expand your awareness. When you expand your awareness, you expand your ability to observe and see, so you see more information. When we're right, when there's an argument going on, you're right in front of each other, all you can see is the person in front of you, red mist, all you can see is that person. But when you can step back, you can see a little bit more and see what's going on, and when you step back, you see a little bit more. And there was a great advert, a British advert, back in I think it was like back in the 70s, or maybe even the 60s, and you see this like punk rocker running down the road and looking really aggressive, and then it goes back a little bit and you see this businessman, and he's running towards the businessman, and then it steps back a little bit more, and then you see that the businessman's walking under scaffolding, and the scaffolding is just collapsing, and the punk rocker is coming to say, grab him and save him. But when you see it from one perspective, it looks like he's just about to nick the guy's suitcase, and then it's not until you see a little bit more and you see a little bit more that you see the whole picture, the whole perspective. And so this whole thing of lean back is to allow yourself more time to think, allow yourself to see the world in a bigger picture and in a bigger way. And part of that lean back is simply breathe, because when you breathe, the brain's processing, the brain's allowed, and more the brain is drawing it down to the heart. You allow yourself to feel rather than to think. This is monkey mind. That is intuition. This is monkey mind. That is intuition. And for those on I just remembered, those on podcast, I'm pointing at my head when I say monkey mind and pointing at my heart when I say intuition. Because your heart feels, your heart is known to have brain cells. It actually has brain cells in there, and it can feel and it sees things in a different way. So when you draw, that leaning back is actually leaning down or drawing down. When you start breathing, in your heart or breathing in your belly, you take your mind, you take your intuition, you take your intent out of the front of your forebrain, which is 60 or 90,000 thoughts every single freaking day, and you allow yourself more time to see things and observe, and rather than focusing on all that 90,000 thoughts and all the things you should have, would have, could have, or the 10,000, or you should get upset about this, or this and that, and they're saying this and they're saying that. When you get to breathe, you actually take away a lot of that clutter, and you just get down to what it's all about. But anyway, over to you, Doc.
It's marvelous, this, really, because I think more and more, especially in the climate that we're in now, and with this so-called invisible enemy that's causing all the problems, and whether you believe in it or not, whether you believe it's engineered or not, it doesn't matter. But I don't see it like an enemy. What I see actually is it's more like a messenger, and more people are having to sit within themselves now and sort of readjust their priorities. And I think that this is actually taking people more and more back to their natural health, their natural immunity. So, it might seem from that very, very narrow focus to be something that's absolutely dreadful. And of course it is, because people are suffering. It's, and it doesn't matter. There's a phrase, for by this time we have ceased fighting anybody or anything. I don't want to fight anymore. I was a rebel as a child. I was a rebel in my teenage years. I was a rebel in my young adult years and stuff like that. And I'm not anymore. It doesn't make me to say that I can't stand on my own 2 feet and stand up for myself, but more and more now, I've got more space now to basically say to myself, do I need to get involved in this? And a lot of the time I was getting involved in stuff that was none of my business, So I have a thing now, Joe, mind your own business. And that's what I say to other people is mind your own business. And what do you mean by mind your own business? Your health and your well-being and your stability and your balance. You talked about it before. We talked about resetting the balance, but there's something called homeostasis, which is to be restored to balance. But there's also something called heterostasis, which means that you never go back to where you were before because you've just accumulated some more information, right? And when you act upon that information, it goes from knowledge then and it becomes felt, personal lived experience. And that's the difference between revolution, which to me is going back to what you were before because you haven't learned the lesson, and evolution, which means ascending into a higher and more expanded consciousness, and the heart buggy. And we know that it's not, the heart has an intelligence of its own. And I think that when we're born, we come through, if you like, with our ancestral energy. Some people call that Jing, some people may call it Qi, it doesn't matter. Jing, Qi, Shen, it's part of that ascension process. We're born with instincts because we can't at that time make our own minds up. And then as we develop, we go from instinct into intellect then. So we start using our own brains then, which is mostly fed by external information, But then as we move further forward, then what's supposed to happen is we can jettison all that societal conditioning and start to really make our own minds up. And that's, God bless you, that's when we come from instinct to intellect to intuition. And then when you finally got seated in intuition, your life just works on inspiration alone. And inspiration, Buggy, means to breathe in. It means to breathe in, And what I feel is that knowledge comes in, it settles, it kicks old stuff out. So the in-breath brings more stuff in, and the out-breath cleanses it and settles it. And that's how we go forward, And for those people on the podcast, I'm moving my arms up and down now. So as we breathe in Tai Chi, we move our arms up. And as we breathe out, we move our arms down. But the other thing about Tai Chi and Qigong, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but it's all about emotion as well. And you mentioned attitude. Changing attitude is the most difficult and the thing that obstructs us more than anything else, because it's quite easy to change your thinking, but it's really difficult to change your attitude, because your attitude is linked to, if you like, your monkey mind or your limbic system or your amygdala, and it's programmed from a very, very early defensive age. And the only way to get shut and cleanse those out is to breathe out gently and just allow all those conditions to be washed away as the new actions come in. Because if you put new habits on top of old ones, it just creates a mess. So what you need to do is get behind it. And this is the whole thing about bone marrow, bone washing. You need to get behind the stem cells. And there you need to allow the energy to flush them out so that the new stuff comes in. I am on one tonight by the sound of it.
Oh, you're rocking and rolling from somewhere to somewhere else. No, it's really cool. But yes, yeah, and you know what? And I'm sitting here thinking, this whole thing of my 39 years in Qigong and whatnot, and it's like I was a warrior. As a kid, I had IBS, I got ulcers, mouth ulcers, stomach ulcers. I was a warrior. It was, my genetics. It was part of my dad's a warrior. My mum was a warrior in a different way, and it was definitely there. And it's interesting. Like it's whole with, like I said, my dad's very ill. And I'm about, I'm about to be sort of homeless. Well, not sort of. Technically, don't find somewhere. I'm technically homeless, and I'm fine. That's like weird. Yeah. In the essence of when you were a warrior, you worry. You would worry, And like I said, my parents are. My dad's ill and he's still worrying, and my mum, both of them are almost in their 80s, and they're both and my dad would actually say, when he, a few years ago, my dad would say, "You don't worry about the right things." You and it's like, but why should I worry at all, to Papa? And it's like, no, but you have to worry. You must. And it's like, and it's this programming that we have from our society and from certain things. But when you learn how to release it, and I've done it through breath work and qigong and the marrow washing, and that's what I've done. It's all this stuff that I don't necessarily talk about, but it's definitely the stuff I've done. And when you do that, you get to this point where it's almost like the Neo in the Matrix. It's almost like you see the energy, you see things going on. It's like, I used to react to that. I'd be like, really, even like 5 years ago, I think if I'd have been here 5 years ago, I think I would have been feeling different and acting different than I am now. And a lot of people would say, you're in shock. And it's like, well, no, I don't think I am. I think it's just, it is what it is. And, being in shock or being upset, being stressed is not actually really helps the situation at all. That's the point. But because all the people, and this is the one thing through qigong, I've known people with who have had ME, MS, fibromyalgia, migraines, IBS, and they had it for like decades. Started doing qigong, started doing energy work, and suddenly they didn't have the pain. And it's like, oh wow, oh, qigong's amazing, you're amazing. And it's like, well, firstly, you're the one doing it, it's not me.
Yeah.
I just point the finger. How many times do I do this? I'm a Sifu. Sifu means pointing the finger. It's a muse, a guide. I just give you the techniques. You still got to freaking do them for it to work. And again, it's just even the qigongs, the exercises are metaphors. They're a way of getting you there. They're a way of just helping you get to this point of no mind, of somewhere in the Tao, of flowing, and it takes as long as it takes, but it doesn't actually have to take that long at all if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to actually just learn to breathe and learn to let go. And that's the biggest thing you say: let go, give yourself, because again, another Taoist metaphor, or Buddhist metaphor of the rucksack. You have a rucksack, and every time things happen, you pick them up and you put them in your back, and you get heavier and heavier and heavier, and you burden down. I know through massage, when I massage people's shoulders, and there's all tension here across the neck and across their shoulders, my teachers would say that's like Atlas, the Greek god. The world is on his shoulders, everything's bearing down on you. And people go, how do you know you're psychic? And it's like, no, I just listen to your body. Your body told me. Just because your muscles are all tense, and that means this. So it's not psychic. I mean, psychic is the teapot. Though I've known some very psychic teapots. But anyway, it's the whole point of is it's just understanding things. And when you start going down this path of just letting shite go, and you let that stress go, and you learn to breathe, and you just learn to relax, and you learn to step back, and you learn to allow yourself just to be, this sort of stuff happens. Weird stuff, yes, things will happen, and it's sort of the universe testing you. Are you sure? You really learning this? Gives you a little prod, gives you a little poke, and that's the point. And it's this thing. It is. I'm believing this more and more. If I can get everybody to just doing a little bit of qigong every single day, and get them to just where they don't have pain, just where they don't stress and have so much anxiety and so much stress. If I could do that, that would change. That would be a massive change. And the same with the heart breathing. If people would just do that as much as they brush their teeth or put clothes on, which probably, especially in the UK, it's probably preferable because it gets quite nippy otherwise if you don't wear any clothes. But it's just really important. Over to you, Doc.
I'm breathing that thought out of my mind of you not wearing clothes. Now, cultivating an inner smile as well, using imagination, and using thought, and using breath, and using movements, because I, like you, I've done quite a bit of training in different martial arts, starting off as a young person doing all sorts of karate and kung fu and jiu-jitsu and all these things, because I was emotionally sensitive and frightened. And I thought that by building up my physical sort of posture, it would help me internally. It didn't do anything at all to me. I've done that many forms of kung fu, right? Hungar, tiger crane, Shaolin. I've done all sorts of different things, it didn't help me at all. And what I thought is I mustn't be doing the right form. So I changed from one to another, hoping that would do it. And it was exactly the same. I did the same with Tai Chi as well, Yang style and Chen style and stuff like that. And what I've done over the years is I've taken a little bit from here and a little bit from there. And I've done some Hatha yoga, Ashtanga yoga, and all sorts of different. I've done everything. I did window cleaning once as well. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But the point about it is, like you say, you need to learn the form to let go of the form. So you need somebody, like you, to point the way and then allow you to sort of find your own feet, really, more than anything else. And my thing now is Find out what works for you and do more of it. And what do I mean by works? The thing that gives you most joy. Because there's no doubt about it that when you're living in joy and you're flowing and opening and moving, and I read an article yesterday, very interesting, about how cells in the brain work. You secrete all sorts of neuropeptides in your brain that are basically the precursors for nerves. And you can actually then, you can use this magnetoelectric effect from your heart to actually change the direction of your nerve pathways in your brain. In other words, you're now developing positive habits, and you're writing now through the scripting of the DNA, you're now writing new positive pathways in your brain that will help you to make better choices in your life. What's this called? It's called the science and art, right, of Qigong. Over to you.
I was going to say, Doc, oh, that was so clever. Who are you? Where's Doc?
Yeah. But the point about it is, you know, sorry, I'm just trying to sort of merge ancient wisdom with modern science, because I think in the West, people feel more inclined to listen if there's some sort of credible, not sloppy science, but credible neuroscience that goes with the ancient arts, you know. And as you know, I'm trying to bring in the understanding of the 7 invisible vortices of energy called the chakras, which are basically invisible counterparts to the physical endocrine glands. It makes perfect sense to me. And what a lot of modern medicine doesn't understand is that it can change the energy flow of these chakras to impact upon the physical manifestation in the physical organs, you see. And I'm trying to help them because, as you know, I work in medicine, and I'm trying to help a lot of my colleagues to do Tai Chi, to do Qigong, to practice yoga and practice mindfulness. And guess what, mate? It's working, because they're stressed to the gills. Their old techniques aren't working. See, I'm not one for fighting against modern medicine, because it has got some magnificent things, right? But so has ancient wisdom as well. And my job really is to be the in-betweener, which I've been all my life. I've never fitted in anywhere, but I feel like I'm in exactly the right place now to help this sort of communication and reunion of the left and the right hemispheres, Occidental and Oriental, merging together. Over to you.
Indeed. Oh, chap. Oh, awesome. Yeah, and you know that's the point. I've always been like the whole my original show, or the other part of this, you know, the way of conscious mindfulness is this whole idea of science and spirituality, and you know, both are needed. You know, back in the 60s we were too spiritual and too woo and so up in the air, but couldn't pay, you know, couldn't bloody afford to live, or you know, and that was the issue. And then we went into the 80s and 90s and became really about money and greed and it's like, and the science was all about science, and you need both. You need the balance of both, and this is, you know, the biggest thing. There is the evidence, there is science and evidence to back Qigong and Tai Chi and yoga now. You know, it's been there, and there's 20-30 years of it, and this is the point. And we've talked about it. It's not about revolution, it's about evolution. We need to evolve. We need to evolve to grow and expand. And you know, the science is there, and like I say, I love quantum physics. I love science. And if you want me to bombard you with science, the facts of this ancient knowledge, I can do that. I can do that till the cows come home. I can talk the hind legs off a donkey and persuade it to go for a walk afterwards. You know, the whole idea is that because the evidence is there now, and you know what? And this is my thing with this whole the big C, the big cove. You know, is that I actually don't see it as scary and as horrible and the big scary monster everybody sees. I've seen it wake people up. I've seen it change things. I've seen it where people, oh, I wish I had time to spend time with my kids. I wish I had time to learn a new musical instrument. It's done that. It's shut everything down to do it, but it's done that. And people are seeing what they couldn't see before. It's waking people up. Whatever, whether it's man-made, banana-made, universal-made, I don't really give a flying fig. It is the Great Awakener. It is doing exactly what it needs to. And I, I'm calling it an it, but it's like the whole situation is waking people up. And like you say, you've got, academics and professional people that before wouldn't think twice about Qigong and Tai Chi. It's, that's a load of nonsense. But because of what's happening, they're now looking at it at a different light. And like you, medically, my arm's falling off. I do not want a crystal healer. I love you. I love you, mate. But but I do not need somebody raking my arm when it's hanging off by the final limb. And the same, the same if my head's coming off. I need somebody to sew it back on, please, thanks. But the aftercare and the other, and doing, the after stuff and speeding up recovery, that is an alternative thing. That is, there are Qigongs for that. There are different energy systems for that. And I think we need to blend them all together. I think we've got to stop seeing them as opposing opposites, and we've got to see them as Tai Chi, which means everything is one. It's complementary opposites, it's complementary differences, not even opposite, it's just differences. Well, over to you, and then I'll do a few plugs of people that are watching the show. So over to you, Doc.
Yeah, just to say that, we live in this dual world only because our ego has separated it into duality, because in reality, there's no duality. Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? So, I know. Because that's mine. Oh, you can have that. In reality, there's no duality. Everything is one. Everything's connected. All systems are connected. The skill is knowing how it's all connected, right? And that's what the field is. The field connects everything, And I love talking to you, mate, because it confirms what's coming into me, because it almost seems now like every time I go into a really deep meditation, I come out and maybe a day or two later, it's almost like a big dump of new information just comes in, So that seems to be happening to lots of people. What I've also noticed is more and more people are becoming, if you like, telepathic. They're starting to sort of, they call clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. The clairs are becoming more and more evident in the people as they're waking up more and more. So they're going beyond the normal range of frequency and seem to be expanding in all those different things now. So this is becoming self-evident as we move along now. And as you say, more than ever, this is about overcoming fear. There's a Qigong for that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, indeed. So, right, so a little bit of wrapping up, a little bit of plugging. So here on the Zoom, we have the wonderful Cosmic Carly. Thank you very much for being here. And the wonderful Jessica as well. Let's have a actually from Jessica. I think it's from Jessica. Yes, it is from Jessica. She said, ancient wisdom plus modern science is exactly what my grandfather strived to do. Hearing all this is so much confirming for me. And yeah, there's so many old people who were saying, look, it's this. And the point is now it's coming more apparent. It is so much becoming more apparent. And that's a good thing. Well, what else? It's weird how it doesn't tell me straight away who said it, but there's another. I think that was mine. Check out the poem Sunflowers on Instagram. Just joking. Love this all. I don't know who that is, but I know on YouTube we've got someone from YouTube, and we have some woman called Shanine. I think we may know her. I think I think there's a dragon dog connection there. She's saying, I was down the beach doing Qigong. You two need to come down again. Yes, we do. We'll definitely have to sort that one out, brother. Lynn Marie from Chi Energy. I think I know her. I think she's one of mine. I know she's one of mine. She says, these two Brits really have it going on. Whatever it is we're going on, it's going on, apparently. And
As long as it's not coming off, that's it.
Yeah, as long as it's not falling off or coming out, going back to being naked again, and can't have that swinging in the breeze, whatever that is. What you said that bit. So Doc and Sifu and Mrs. Freedom on the beach in Brighton. So that's Lynn talking about the wonderful Shanine. Shanine also said that Boggy loves to chat. No, sure, I'm the quiet, reserved one. Apparently, the wonderful Tara L. She said, "Indeed, Joe, it is the drawing of science meets spirituality, building up the bridge from the ancient to the modern. The pieces are coming together." What she said. What he said. And finally, actually two more. So also from Tari, she said the virus transmits messages to the cells to the body. Yep, very much so. That is exactly what the big C is doing. It is transmitting messages to the cells, human beings, with the collective body. And you can change that information by breathing through your heart, by, leaning back, by doing a Qigong. There's a Qigong for that, apparently. And one more. So from Kat, the wonderful Kat, she's saying, Sifu always has a Qigong for that. Yes, there's pretty much a Qigong, pretty much for anything. And one more on here on Zoom. It's Ola doing Qigong as I am listening. Good girl. That's from Anne. And she's from the Faroe Islands, and actually you're nearer to her than I am, ish. But yes, so that's it, Doc. So I have to actually say we will actually be doing one of these again next week, won't we?
We will, and we'll try and find some more lies to come up with.
Yeah, some more lines indeed. Yeah. Well, I'll probably get told off and I'll have to write 500, so I'm sure I'll find a few lines out of that one. So if you're for lives on YouTube, on the Sifu Boggy YouTube, as well as on Facebook for those who are not shadow banned like I am, next week, so it'll be a week today at the same time, so 7 o'clock UK time, which is 2 o'clock Eastern, and I think that's 1 p.m. Central. We will be on again. Now, I am also on now, or this will technically be in the future, so hello future. I am also on Bring Me to Life, their network, and so that is also on Spotify and many other places. So I hope you enjoy this show, and there will be more of these in the future, because me and Doc do like a good old chat. We do like a good old philosophical ponderings, as we do. So that's it for now. It's time for me and Doc to go back in our little boxes until next week. So we love you all. Take care until next time. It's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from him. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye all. Bye for now. So,
great. That was great.
And no, it's not going to. No, okay. Now I can't get off it. Okay. So, guys, this is impromptu. See you later. Bye for now. Au revoir.